We have a question request this week. Can you write my art history paper for me? Yes, I can write your art history paper for you, and in fact, I would hazard a guess that I could write a 400 level A+ art history paper without leaving this room and without an internet connection. However, people who know me know that material gain is not a chief motivator in my life, which is another way of saying nothing in the world could compel me to write your art history paper for you. You ought to engage with these things and learn and grow. That's what an education is all about. This is the last time in your life you're going to have an opportunity like this. Don't squander it. I write this blog like so many other people write blogs about their life. A lot of people choose to do that by writing about things that happened at their work, which is ill-advised, or things that happened in their personal life, things that they like. I choose to write about things that I thought, and chiefly about things that I read. It occurs to me that some people might come to this blog for school aid, and I'm assured by my teacher friends that in this golden age of technology, if someone were to plagiarize, they would be very easily caught, because there are so many search engines that you can run a bit of text through and see if it were culled from another source. And if you're the sort of person who would plagiarize, you will most likely be caught because your professor's suspicions will arouse when the quality of your work suddenly dramatically increases. You haven't mentioned anything about plagiarism, but you have mentioned ghostwriting, which is equally academically polluted. Having thus chastised you, I will offer you a few suggestions on how you might write a very good art history paper very quickly and very easily. I'm going to assume here that we can choose a topic within art history to write our paper about, and that we're not writing about the scope of art history, because if that's the case, you are in big trouble. The first topic I would recommend would be Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, one of my favorite painters, and about a decade ago there was a book called Toulouse-Lautrec and the Fin de Siècle by David Sweetman, if memory serves. It was a book that I loved so much that I gave it away, and the author contended that so often Lautrec these days is viewed as this sort of frivolous figure who painted people dancing in music halls, drinking absinthe, going to the circus, and so forth. I'll put up a few pictures here to jog your memory as to what we're talking about. But the author believed that Lautrec was actually a highly political painter, and his evidence was in a lot of the subject matter, that figures like Oscar Wilde or Félix Fénéon appeared in the pictures, who would have been highly politically charged figures to appear in a painting at the time, or just the choice of the subject matter, this sort of glorious, joyful underworld. I imagine if Baz Luhrmann were to make another motion picture with Toulouse-Lautrec in it, he might explore this theme by way of the pop music song Common People by Pulp. My second recommendation, a little bit daring and about a specific work of art, and an ancient one, is the Laocoon, which I have written about on this blog before. I'll put up a picture. And I would specifically recommend the book My Laocoon by Richard Brilliant, which I've also talked about on this blog before. In it, Professor Brilliant talks about the history of the Laocoon, the very convoluted history, and ways of seeing art through the lens of that specific history of that specific work. I should probably stipulate that if you're going to choose any of these books that I'm talking about, you should also have a few other sources, because your professor has likely either read these books themselves, or had papers submitted to them from students who have. My final topic that I would recommend, and I suspect possibly the best one in this instance, is Dadaism, through the filter of Lipstick Traces by Greil Marcus, in which Marcus discusses Dadaism and the connection to punk rock. and the belief that when cultures reach this certain specific intensity, that an anarchic art movement will emerge. And I choose this one because it occurs to me that somebody with the sensibility who would ask a question like this may find something in here that might ignite their interest and open the doors for bigger and better things to be learned about in the future, which after all is what the academic experience is all about. So there you are with a few suggestions. Don't you ever ask me a question like this again. Ta-ta.